right, everyone, welcome to Simply Bitcoin. We break down all the daily Bitcoin news from Twitter, the daily fail, the meme review, the software releases, the websites by plebes. Drop us a like and subscribe. And today we've got a special guest, person who is no stranger to Bitcoin mining, DenverBitcoin, who is the business, is in charge of business development, at Upstream Data Inc. And we are going to kick it off with the numbers. Here we go. All right, we are currently sitting at a block height of 672,200. Current Bitcoin price 46,690. Chain rewrite days 606. Total lightning capacity 1,088. Bitcoin versus gold market cap 7.57%. And the sats per dollar, unfortunately climbing, 2,139.
Man,
we're getting more sats for the dollar when we stack, but that's not, it's bittersweet.
It's bittersweet. These numbers are absolutely insane. Just small little tumble. Unfortunately, no Satoshi the Bitcoin chicken. He only collects when the price of Bitcoin reaches an all-time high. Phil, that being said, it's time for
the daily fail. Okay, today's daily fail, I think our guest, DenverBitcoin, will appreciate. So, RDBTC, fellow Bitcoiner and meme lord, who is not the fail, but managed to pick up this article. He goes, at Alex Hearn, now you fucked up. Okay, and essentially Alex Hearn looks like he did some type of a, I can't really call it research because it's a lot of old FUD and garbage, but essentially, there's a video about why Bitcoin is so bad for the planet. Okay? Now, this is really, it's incredibly disingenuous. And of course, when you go through the tweet thread, you'll see that it's just, everybody's bashing him because clearly, he's coming up with all these old ridiculous arguments. And rather than hearing my amateur take on this, I think what we really want to do is we want to dive into what DenverBitcoin thinks about Bitcoin destroying the world.
I think I have a lot of thoughts on that, but I've tweeted out for a while that I expected the kind of environmental alarmists and the consumption minimalist mob to come after Bitcoin at some point, right? But I mean, there's a few things that are taking place, and they're all a catalyst to this narrative of Bitcoin destroying the planet. I mean, the first one is that Bitcoin wears its energy usage on its sleeve. I think Marty Bent is one of the people that says that often. And that means, we know how much energy is going into Bitcoin to the network at any given time. It's an open ledger, it's an open network. You can calculate that, right? You can come within a pretty good estimation. So it's hard to compare it to other things because there's nothing else that we really know. We don't even really, Amazon knows how much their web servers, how much electricity they use, but and we can estimate kind of about all web servers, but we can't know about banks. And compared to other financial entities, it's so that's part of the issue. The other issue is that there's this conflated issue of consumption being the cause of the issue, of the cause of turmoil on the earth or some kind of environmental impact. And it's not the case. It's not like when somebody plugs in a Bitcoin miner, they have to shovel more coal into a coal fire, generator, or a coal fire plant. Bitcoin miners are specifically incentivized to find within the energy stack, find places where energy is wasted. And what we do at Upstream Data, we provide tools for oil and gas operators who have flare gas or stranded energy, right? They have gas that's literally, they have to just burn it because they can't economically bring it to market. They can't, it costs so much to build a pipeline and they don't have enough gas to justify a 100-mile pipeline because they're out in the middle of nowhere. So, but they have this really good energy source. And so they can leverage the Bitcoin network and mine Bitcoin with it, right? They can essentially bring that energy to market. And so with that, and you want to look at the environmental impact, my God, the environmental ROI per dollar on this process, on mining Bitcoin, on specifically flared methane, is absolutely it dwarfs mainstream initiatives. It makes solar and wind look like a joke in terms of how much money it costs to have such a, so much of an environmental impact. And so, Bitcoin is a good thing. It's a good thing within the entirety of the energy stack. It's not boiling the oceans or destroying the planet. In fact, I would argue that it's going to make the planet a lot more prosperous, a lot more efficient, and allow us to economically harness all sorts of different stranded energy sources, whether it's geothermal, wind, hydroelectric. Now there's a means by which to sell electricity anywhere that you generate it, right? You just need an internet connection. And that incentive is going to force people to, go and innovate and produce and find other means by which to produce energy and generate electricity specifically. So it's FUD. It's uninformed. It's nonsense. At the end of the day, it's bullshit, right? Is what we're talking about right now. We're talking about the bullshit narrative that it's only going to become more bold and I mean, I'm fully prepared to be, told that I'm causing hurricanes because I'm helping guys mine Bitcoin. I mean, it's just, it's a bummer. But in the information age, I think it's normal for the beginning part of the information age to be the misinformation age, right? Where everyone is just bombarded with nonsense. And there is truth out there. It's tough to find, tough to sift through, tough to filter. But, hopefully we'll get there one day, right?
Beautifully said, man.
Absolutely, man. It just, man, the propaganda, the FUD machine is real. It's gonna ramp up even more. It's gonna be absolutely crazy. We're gonna cover here first on Simply Bitcoin. It's gonna be entertaining as hell. It makes our job easy, right? That being said, Phil, it's time for it.
It's gonna be crazy.
It's gonna be crazy. Exactly, DenverBitcoin.
Only started.
Phil, that being said, it's time for
the daily meme review.
All right, everybody. The meme. Well, this isn't the meme that we're going to review for today, but we've been saying for the last 2 days that our scoring metrics were completely disrupted by Sunday's episode, which I really recommend you guys watching because it's absolutely hilarious. It's the story behind a laser ray until 100K. Super awesome meme, but they made a meme about us. This is how bad they effed us. This is me and Phil. These are the meme lords. Absolutely hilarious. Kind of an inside joke, but just worth mentioning why we are no longer just giving numbers and we are starting to give fruits, vegetables, any object that we feel like to rate memes. Anyway, the meme for today, it's going out the door. It's disrupted. The meme lords have disrupted it. Anyways, the meme for today is brought to us by RD_BTC pathetic laser ray until 100K. All right, so the meme says, Fed wire, apologies. We have an operational error, Bitcoiners. Laser eyes, pathetic. I would laugh, but I've seen the meme already. It's pretty good. It's not the best meme we've ever had on Simply Bitcoin. Phil, I'm going to give that a bottle cap opener. What about you, man?
I'm not, well, I was going to say, I mean, it's good. I definitely, at least he's using The Simpsons, something culturally relevant. It is kind of it's still a niche meme. And although I haven't fully moved over to our new method of rating, I'm going to give it a solid 8. He's still going to get a number.
Solid 8. I like it. All right. Yeah. I'm curious to think what our guest thinks, and I'm going to pull up the meme real quick so you guys see what he's rating. What does our guest think of the Simply Bitcoin meme lords meme?
I'm completely out of my element here. I mean, I can't, for me to even begin to critique RD's work it's just blasphemous.
Dude, it's your chance. It's your chance, dude. On Simply Bitcoin, you can do that. We do it all the time.
Too good. He's too good. I'm not going to critique. I think it's great. I think Laser Eyes was, what the hell happened with Laser Eyes? That was weird. I mean, all of a sudden we had like congressmen and women and Musk, and it's back to this information age phenomenon. I think, we're just starting to everyone get comfortable with socializing often, and like the world becomes this really small place where you're interacting with so many people so quickly and simultaneously. And so You know, I memes are what win the day, and RD is really damn good at making them. So I'm going to give him a double thumbs up always on whatever he produces.
A double thumbs up.
Too good.
All right, double thumbs up. That was the rating. I like it. A double thumbs up, a bottle cap opener, and the number 8 from the old rating system. I like those. Those are good scores overall.
It's getting a good mix.
In the highly accredited Simply Bitcoin rating system, we take it super seriously. Anyways, Phil, it's time for
the Daily News, sponsored by Crypto Cloaks.
All right, everybody. So today we're going to talk about literally one of the most annoying pieces of FUD that just gets floated around by basically the misinformed people. But I just wanted to point out how on board the mainstream media is with this narrative that just Bitcoin, just completely destroys the planet. I have to say, once you start reading this CNBC article, to be fair, it does take both, it does take both sides. It presents both arguments, right? But still, look at the headline. Bitcoin's wild ride renews worries about its massive carbon footprint. Okay. And then you move on to, again, the BBC, right? Also very big mainstream media. Bitcoin consumes more electricity than Argentina. Now, I have to say this article is not so kind of, doesn't really present both arguments. It just goes to the criticisms of, how much, electricity essentially Bitcoin uses. It has all these fancy charts. But yes, it is fair to say that Bitcoin uses a lot of electricity. That's completely fair to say. But to say that it's completely ruining the planet, and to say that the electricity that Bitcoin uses was somehow going to be used for something else, and it's disingenuous, it's misinformed, and you could tell that when the powers that be feel like turning on the propaganda machine against Bitcoin, they're going to use these resources, these tools, to kind of just push out this narrative to the public, right? So DenverBitcoin,
definitely.
What would you think? Like, first of all, what is the best defense against these lies?
Well, okay, so back to the point earlier. I mean, I said, I think I said in a tweet to environmental alarm idea that Bitcoin's carbon impact is unsustainable. We have to shut it down. I said this was going to be the biggest FUD-skeeto that we're going to have to swat. Right. And it's going to be ever growing. And so I think one of the main ways to just topple this topic altogether is, yes, Bitcoin does use a lot of electricity. They calculate its carbon impact print. They take the electricity and, multiply it by what the average electricity impact is, right? The average electricity generation carbon impact. And so that's flawed because Bitcoin isn't produced by normal means. Right. I mean, in one way, we know for a fact that a ton of hash rate is generated by hydroelectric. So it comes from, there's electricity being generated at a dam that otherwise just would go to waste. So it's a net zero gain on the impact. Right. So how much of the hash rate is from that? We have people like myself and the people we work with at Upstream Data, oil and gas guys who are mining off their flared gas. Like I said, that's actually a negative. That's the carbon reduction, right? We actually, even 1 or 2 engines, we can reduce on an annual basis 10,000, 15,000 tons of carbon, CO2 from the environment. So, I mean, those numbers are nonsense, right? I mean, their data is flawed. Yes, Bitcoin uses a lot of electricity, but you want to talk about its environmental impact, it's a net gain. So this notion of, electricity the electricity use equals negative impact on the environment is just nonsense, right? It's hardly even worth debunking.
You're muted.
Sorry about that.
You're muted.
Yeah. So why do you think that FUD is so strong, Denver? Why does it keep persisting after I think
Okay,
Nick Carter
that's
also wrote
yeah.
a very good piece kind of addressing this as well. Multiple other, big Bitcoiners, also have written articles kind of dispelling this, that Bitcoin doesn't just use energy, it uses excess energy, right? That's something that, these I would say these green planet type folks, they tend to focus on that, so what would you say to those people?
Well, I think, this is just kind of how I think about it. I think that in order to raise tax dollars to fund certain types of green initiatives, there needs to be a justification for that, right? And I mean, this is the bottom line, is that economically speaking, a lot of renewable or sustainable wind and solar energy sources, they're not as economically efficient or sustainable as fossil fuels, and ultimately they rely on fossil fuels. And so, I think in order to push this intermittent energy production, this wind and solar kind of subsidization narrative, this narrative of, hey, we need to spend taxes and switch to wind and solar in order to save the planet, they needed to make it a moral argument, right? There needs to be, now they made it so that there's moral energy production and there's immoral energy production, right? If you produce with fossil fuels or hydrocarbons or coal or whatever, like, it's disgusting, and it's just trading electricity for killing polar bears. And then if you it's funny, if you use the same fossil fuels and you build a windmill and you make a wind farm, and you produce energy, like, you lose, it's not nearly as economic. It might even be, economically unsustainable, but you're saving the planet, and it's a moral way of producing electricity. And that's the flaw, right? There is no immoral and moral way of producing energy. There are economic and uneconomic ways. There are sustainable and unsustainable ways. But this idea that some energy is better than others, some electricity, I mean, no, it's nonsense. Our energy stack is, the fact that we have different primary energy sources is a good thing, because the energy stack more resilient. And so I think ultimately the FUD is the reason strong is because it's like this moral fight. It's like people feel righteous in their climate effort, right? To say uses a ton of energy is bad, and they have this idea consume less electricity, less energy, and I think that that's inherently flawed as well.
Yeah, totally. And you know what? I call these people the people that are still asleep in the matrix. It's going to be interesting to see when these people face the reality of what the situation actually is, because whether they like it or not, Bitcoin is coming. Bitcoin is here to stay, and they're going to have to face the truth. So it's going to be funny to see what happens. But I wouldn't be surprised if, these types of articles, they just keep on coming and they keep being even more, hyperbolic and stuff like that. So anyways, Phil, there was a software release today. Why don't you tell everybody about it?
Software releases. So it looks like today we've got Sparrow Wallet version 1.2.0 that was released, and that is down below in the show notes.
Awesome. Thank you, Phil. That was our show. I just want to give a shout out to our guest. Thank you so much, Adam O, for coming on. You guys could go follow him on his Twitter if you want. Man, his content is awesome. He doesn't just only post about, Bitcoin mining and using isolated energy. It's a pretty awesome account. Go follow him. You can go follow him at DenverBitcoin. You could also go check out his writing at DenverBitcoin.medium.com. Super awesome. Love this guy. He's definitely a plebe. Thank you so much for coming on our show. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to smash that like button. If you love the show, subscribe, and we will see you tomorrow for another episode of Simply Bitcoin.